A big political development in the state of Bihar. On the second day of the winter session of the Bihar Assembly, in fact, Chief Minister Nitish Kumar not only presented the Bihar government's caste-based survey, but also went on to a demand or at least propose increase in the quota as well. Now, as per the Bihar caste-based survey, 34% of all families in Bihar survive on less than 6,000 rupees per month. And 42% of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes households live in poverty. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar proposed to extend the caste reservation to 65% in the state. Let's just listen in to what the Chief Minister said today in the Assembly.
50% है अनुसूचित जाति अनुसूचित जनजाति का 60% और बाकी जो पिछड़ा अति पिछड़ा का है उसमें जो बचा है वो, और फिर अब केंद्र ने 50 के अलावे 10 किया, उसको स्वीकार किया गया, तब तो अपर कास्ट में 10%, तब अपर कास्ट का आप देखिएगा तो आपको संख्या का पता चलेगा कि अपर कास्ट में कितनी संख्या हो जाती है। तो अभी जो है कि 28% बचा है, तो इसीलिए अब जो कुछ भी है आर्थिक आधार पर 10% आरक्षण दिया गया, तो उनकी जनसंख्या अनुपात के आलोक में लगभग 65-64% है, जो बता दिए अभी आपको। अनुसूचित जाति जनजाति के लिए जब 100% का आरक्षण जो हम बता दिए हैं, तो पिछड़े और अति पिछड़े वर्ग के लिए आरक्षण बढ़ना नहीं चाहिए भाई, इसका बढ़ना नहीं चाहिए।
कैबिनेट में भी समर्थन किया, इसी सदन में हम लोग बैठे थे, पूरी सहमति से जताई। महोदय डेलीगेशन गया, उसमें भी हमने भागीदारी किया। महोदय गरीबों के हित में हमेशा हम साथ खड़े हैं। महोदय हर तरह की योजनाओं में भारतीय जनता पार्टी पूरा समर्थन करती है महोदय। लेकिन मैं बता देना चाहता हूं महोदय, कहना चाहेंगे, बड़े विद्वत लोग हैं, अनुभवी भी हैं और अनुभव की किताब लेके बैठे हैं महोदय। ये अनुभव की किताब रखने वाले लोग से हम कहना चाहेंगे कि विचार ऐसा रखें जिस विचार पर लोग विचार करें।
Now, this is going to have clear political consequences, not only in the state of Bihar, but also the opposition alliance India, in fact, trying to make this a big political issue ahead of 2024. Let's just try and understand this, because our colleague Manish is decoding this entire caste conundrum.
Nitish Kumar has made some very quick announcements today. Although the hike in the quota for SC, ST as well as for the OBC and EBC was on expected lines, but nobody expected that the quota for scheduled caste will be increased from existing 16 to 20% and from the scheduled tribe from the 1 to 2%. But of course, everyone was expecting a substantial increase in the quota for OBC as well as EBC, which has been increased from current 30% to now 43%. Of course, it is not yet clear that out of that 43%, how much will be given to EBC, which is likely to enjoy the upper hand when it comes to sharing the quota, as last time they had 18% out of 30%, which was given to OBC, EBC combined. So this time also their quota from 18%, it will be increased somewhere, 25% plus. Of course, Nitish Kumar has said that the exact amount of quota for each and every community will be for the OBC and EBC will be known in a day or two. But now the ball is in the center's court, because this since they are going to breach this 50% ceiling, so center will have to ratify it. Otherwise, it is also likely to be challenged in Supreme Court. But this time, Bihar government is claiming that unlike Maharashtra and Karnataka, where the quota was also increased above 50%, but Supreme Court has struck down in the case of both the states. But since Bihar has also gone for the socio-economic survey and the data is now in the public domain, so they are saying that legally they have a much more stronger case, and it is it will be very difficult for Supreme Court also to turn down the data which is now being made available. Besides that, Nitish Kumar has also made a major announcement that he is going to provide 2 lakh rupees economic assistance to almost 94 lakh families, which will be given to the one family member of each and every family. And this is not going to be some kind of loan. They are not supposed to return it. But in the days to come, now BJP in Bihar as well as in center, they will have to do some kind of tightrope walking, because in the discussion today, most of the BJP members, they in fact urged Nitish Kumar to increase the quota for OBC and EBC, and it is till the time this matter is legally or otherwise resolved, everyone is going to put pressure on BJP that you ratified this hike in quota sooner than later.
Meanwhile, Chief Minister of Bihar, Nitish Kumar, in fact, stoked another controversy and went viral on social media for his somewhat misogynistic language to explain the role of education and the role of women in population control. In fact, House members, including Deputy Chief Minister Tejaswi Yadav, were seen laughing inside the assembly. However, women members were completely uncomfortable with the way the Chief Minister was speaking about this. Listen.
एक बात बता दे, इसका कोई अगर कोई गलत मतलब निकालता है तो ये गलत बात है। एक तरह से जो भी मुख्यमंत्री जी का बयान आया जो सेक्स एजुकेशन के बारे में, और जब भी सेक्स एजुकेशन की बात की जाती है तो इसकी लोग जो है शर्माते हैं, हिचकते हैं, तो उससे लोगों को बचना चाहिए। तो स्कूलों में पढ़ाई होती है भाई, साइंस बायोलॉजी ये तो स्कूलों में पढ़ाई होती है, बच्चे पढ़ते हैं भाई। तो हमको लगता है अगर सेक्स एजुकेशन की अगर बात है, उनका कहने का मतलब आबादी कंट्रोल जो है क्या करना है, वो प्रैक्टिकली बात जो भी आती है उन्होंने अपना बात किया। तो इससे लोगों को गलत तरीका में नहीं लेना चाहिए, एतराज नहीं लेना, बट इट शुड बी मोर टेकन एज अ सेक्स एजुकेशन।
हम लोग भी इस बार आपत्तिजनक करते हैं और ये जो मर्यादा से अलग उठ के और मुख्यमंत्री जी शब्द बोलने हैं, इसको हम लोग निंदा करते हैं। सारे महिला, पूरे बिहार के महिला हो, विदेश की महिला, सबके हम लोग बिहार के महिला निंदा करते हैं। ये आपजनिक बात नहीं बोलना चाहिए। अरे आप लोग को हम लोग कहे थे भारतीय जनता पार्टी जनगणना, हम लोग भी थे, पूरे भारतीय जनता पार्टी आपको समर्थन किए, और ये शब्द बोल रहा है जब इधर से बोला गया था से आपने जनगणना पर बोलिए। और नीतीश कुमार जी मुख्यमंत्री जी ऐसा शब्द बोला है, आप लोग भी सुने हैं, सभी लोग सुने हैं। जब हम बाल बच्चे के बेटा बेटी की जब शादी करेंगे तो परिवार बढ़ेगा, और उसका हम उच्चारण और विधानसभा में करेंगे।
Let's now shift focus to the election-bound states. In fact, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Mizoram, and also Telangana, the semi-finals on the road to 2024. Today, the first round, Mizoram voted, and also 20 seats in the first round of Chhattisgarh, the first phase of Chhattisgarh. It has kick-started this big electoral battle in the 5 states. Now, the State Assembly of Mizoram, the people voted today to select their government, elect their government for the next assembly, and also this is on the road to the 2024 general elections. Now, assembly elections are being seen as a big contest ahead of the general election. The first phase of polling in Chhattisgarh ended, and thankfully, peacefully today. Till 5 p.m, Chhattisgarh had recorded a turnout of 70.9%. The 2018 state polls had seen over 77% turnout, while in Mizoram it was recorded at 75.7%. Now, this is the provisional, turnout. It is expected to go up a few notches. First, let's shift focus to my colleague Ratnadeep, who is joining us from Mizoram. An interesting battle there, Ratnadeep, concluding today. Triangular contest, a lot at stake for the incumbent chief minister and also for the Congress party and the new challenger in the mix as well.
That's right. Very crucial elections for all these political parties, and even for that matter of fact for the BJP, because remember the BJP really tried to break its Mizoram jinx. One state in the Northeast, where its organizational strength is perhaps the weakest in the region, and it had contested 23 seats. It would like to increase its tally, go up. Remember, in the last elections, BJP had opened up its account, and this time BJP would be hopeful that if it can increase its tally and the regional parties, either the ZPM or the MNF, does not get absolute majority, then there is a chance that these parties might seek help from BJP. However, for the Congress, it is a battle for survival, because in the last elections, although they were able to get 30% vote, but it did not translate into seats, and they won only 4 seats. So this time, with a new leadership and almost 50% of new candidates, Congress would like to change its political fortunes, not only in Mizoram, but start rebuilding the party for the 2024 elections in entire Northeast. But at the end of the day, the Mizoram election basically is a fight between the ruling MNF and the newfound political force in the state, the Zoram People's Movement. And given the fact that already what we are picking up from EC sources, that at least 80% of polling has been registered. Remember, there are remote areas from which the data will take time to come in, and therefore this figure should cross the 81% mark which was registered in the last election. And given the fact that over 60% voters are in the age group of 16 to 40, so there is always a chance that there can be a fraction of votes changing sides, and that happens in Mizoram, where margin of victory is less than 500 in some seats. Then there can be a situation where the ZPM might actually give us a political surprise, because it's a very new party, but you cannot rule out the MNF. They have a legacy in the state, and therefore all eyes will be on the results on December 3.
Absolutely. Now over to December 3 for Mizoram to decide who is going to be the next government, the next chief minister of the state, possibly the only state at this moment where the Congress in Northeast can hope for a revival. Thank you, Ratnadeep, for joining us on that story. Let's move on. Now, a tragic story. In fact, a man was killed and 3 others were injured when Union Minister Prahlad Patel's car, in fact, met an accident in Madhya Pradesh. This is in the pole-bound state of Madhya Pradesh. He was on a campaign trail. Now, the minister too has suffered minor injuries. The central minister, who is a candidate in the November 17 Madhya Pradesh polls, was travelling from Chhindwara to Narsinghpur when the accident indeed took place. Now, the man unfortunately died because of this accident, has been identified as Niranjan. He was a teacher and was returning home with his 2 children. Quite a tragic story there. Meanwhile, in Delhi, the Supreme Court has talked tough as far as the air pollution is concerned. The Supreme Court has said this must stop. It was a strong message and remarks which were sent across today in the hearing as far as the air pollution matter is concerned in the top court. Now, directing the state governments to take immediate steps to stop stubble burning, the court said, we want it stopped. We don't know how you would do it. It is your job. The court also commented on the odd-even scheme which the Delhi government had announced that it is going to be implemented from November 13th. The court said that these kind of schemes like odd-even for vehicles are mere optics. Take a look at an action-packed day that took place in the courts today.
This is the murder of people's health, and it has to stop. The Supreme Court coming down hard on states for the pollution in North India. The top court has also ordered Punjab to stop farm fires immediately, making respective police stations responsible for implementing the order.
So the court has come up with some very comprehensive orders. The Punjab government said that it can ban stubble burning provided they are able to incentivize the farmers. And they said we are ready to bear 25% of the expenditure. It's also said that Delhi government will bear 25%. So the balance 50% he requested if the center can bear, then they can ban stubble burning completely.
On the Supreme Court's directions, the Union Cabinet Secretary will hold a meeting on Wednesday with Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and Delhi officials on ways to stop stubble burning. The top court will hear the decisions of this meeting on Friday. The Supreme Court today said toxic air is responsible for the murder of people's health. Stubble burning in Punjab and Haryana is a key factor. The court said, we want stubble burning stopped, adding, we don't know how you will do it, but it's your job. Something has to be done immediately, the court said, adding that schemes like odd even are mere optics. The court also observed that a smog tower in Delhi is not working and that the government must ensure repair. The court added that Delhi cannot continue like this and that the Delhi government must also be responsible.
पंजाब के कारण दिल्ली तक का पोल्यूशन फैल रहा है और ये उस पर राजनीति कर रहे हैं और दिल्ली के अंदर कहते हैं कि पंजाब के अंदर पोल्यूशन नहीं है।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ऑड इवन को लेकर के कुछ ऑब्जर्वेशन हमने मीडिया में देखा है, हम उसको स्टडी करेंगे।
As the Supreme Court heard the case over air pollution in the national capital, there were reports of stubble burning in Punjab. Even though the Delhi government has told the court stubble burning has reduced by 40% compared to last year.
मान साहब की सरकार तो ऑलरेडी बहुत सारे तरीके से इसको कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश कर रही है, डिफरेंट तरीके हमने अपनाए हुए।
Supreme Court has directed Central and 5 states to sit together on Wednesday and discuss and apprise the court on Friday about the steps need to be taken to stop stubble burning and also to curb air pollution in the National Capital Region. With camera person Pawan Kumar, this is Arvind Gunasekar for NDTV.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a secret that our metros have become toxic health, whether it's Delhi or Mumbai or Kolkata. Residents are breathing pure poison. While multiple governments strategize, we hear what the courts have been saying. We at NDTV believe it's time for citizens to take charge, and this is why this campaign, as far as this very important issues for our health is concerned. We asked our viewers, you, on what would be your suggestions, steps that the government can take or what citizens can do themselves to reduce air pollution. This is a continuous campaign. These are the top suggestions that we have received today. In fact, Ramakant Yadav from Kanpur has suggested that there should be a complete ban on polythenes below 50 microns, strict ban on sale of crackers as well. Arsh Ansari from Hapur has also suggested to NDTV that curbs in Delhi should be extended to neighbouring cities as well in the entire NCR region. Stubble and garbage burning is a growing menace. In fact, Gursimran Singh from Kolkata has also suggested that governments should execute odd-even plan 2 months before November. So not when the pollution is at the peak, but Gursimran thinks that it should be done beforehand. Afan Bhagwan from Solapur has also suggested that give the middle class concession on electric vehicles. That's a very, very important suggestion, something that the government should really make these EVs affordable for the common man. We would, in fact, we first thank all our viewers, those who have suggested, send in their suggestions today, but we urge you to, in fact, do your bit, suggest what can be done, and we will put it out on our various programs on NDTV. You can WhatsApp us on 96500555787. We will showcase the best suggestions on our shows. Remaining with the Supreme Court, in fact, the court today expressed serious concerns over seizures of digital devices like laptops, smartphones and other of journalists and asked the centre to bring in better guidelines to regulate powers of investigating agencies and said the country needs better guidelines to protect journalists and media professionals. Supreme Court observed there must be some guidelines in place for law enforcement agencies to seize and access electronic devices of journalists. In fact, the court also said that it is imperative to protect the sources as far as journalists are concerned. Now, the matter will once again be heard on December 6th. The court has asked Centre to come up with guidelines for agencies while seizing the devices of journalists. Remember, there have been recent cases of the raid on the BBC and also a recent case of NewsClick where this issue was discussed at length. Let me go across to my colleague Arvind Gunasekar, who is joining us at this moment. Arvind, quite an important thing, not only for us as journalists, but this also ensures or at least puts some guidelines in place for data protection and seizures as far as common citizens are also concerned.
Yeah, Ankit, Supreme Court, while hearing a PAL that has been filed seeking guidelines to be formulated while seizing the mobile phones or any of the electronic gadgets of the journalists. Today, Supreme Court has asked the central government to come up with guidelines, and Supreme Court has adjourned the matter for a hearing for December 6th. Before that, Centre has to come up with guidelines that will be placed before the Supreme Court. So this particular petition was filed by some journalists asking some kind of guidelines should be put in place whenever enforcement agencies seize the mobile phones or laptops of a journalist, saying that that should not take away the rights of journalists. And that's why today Supreme Court made some very strong observations. In fact, Supreme Court said that the state or the country cannot be run through enforcement agencies, and that's why Supreme Court said the interests of the law enforcement agencies should be balanced with the interests of journalists. And that's why Supreme Court did say that Centre has to come up with some kind of guidelines. And if at all if the Centre is not ready to come up with guidelines, and Supreme Court went to an extent of saying that if at all if Centre is not ready to do it, then Supreme Court will walk that mile, and Supreme Court itself will put some guidelines in place to ensure that the rights and interests of journalists are kind of protected. And that's why, though Centre through ASG did make an argument saying that journalists are not above the law, Supreme Court did say that that's well within the right, well within the criminal jurisprudence. But Supreme Court did make an observation to Centre saying that they have to come up with some kind of guidelines to be put in place so that the data of journalists, especially the sources, etc., those are not misused. And that's why Supreme Court has asked Centre to come up with guidelines before the next date of hearing, which has been scheduled for December 6th.